Are you working with someone you can't stand? We've all been there. Working with people I want to punch in the throat has been called relatable and laugh out loud hilarious. Read the stories about all the crazy people Jen Mann has worked with over the years. Find out who she wants to punch in the throat. Working with people I want to punch in the throat is now available everywhere books are sold.
Hi, I'm Denise Grover-Swank.
And I'm Jen Mann.
And we are two Midlife Mommas.
Welcome to the podcast.
Today, we're going to talk about finding your purpose in midlife, which is an exciting topic for me because that's where I truly found my purpose in life.
Definitely. I think we both have, probably.
Yeah.
So what do you think your purpose is?
To be an author, to entertain.
Yeah.
Not just, when I tell people I'm an author, I consider myself more of a storyteller than a great author. Like, I'm never going to write the great American novel, and I have no intention to because I usually find those books boring. I'm not really into literary fiction much, but I am into great stories with characters I connect to, and that's what I try to do. So, yeah. I say that I've never worked so hard in my life, and I've never been so happy.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think your purpose is?
I think my purpose, I think it's kind of like you, it's to entertain, but I'm like you. I went to college and I have a degree in creative writing, and I always thought I'd write the great American novel. And then I realized that I'm really just Irma Bombeck with F-bombs.
Yeah, right?
And I'm so much happier doing that. So to entertain people and to make people laugh. My goal is to make everybody laugh every day. And I think my purpose is to make people laugh. Because I think that we take our lives so seriously and ourselves so seriously.
Yes.
And we have to laugh. I really think it's like a form of healing and self-care even practically, right, to laugh. And so so I always say, follow me online, because every day I will make you laugh at least once.
That's true. I follow you online, and that's true.
so yeah,
I'm like a stalker basically. Yeah.
But it took me a long time though, because I don't know about you, but I never thought I could get paid farting around on the internet.
No. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. I had a high school teacher who told me that I was really great at writing, but I never thought you could make much money from it. And so I never considered it as a career option. I just considered it, I have a dog scratching at the door. I always thought it would be like a side hobby. And so I tried to write a book, and never finished when I started. I called it A Long Line of Unfinished Novels. So I didn't finish my first book until I was in my 40s. But, I meandered through a lot of different jobs that weren't quite what I expected. We're going to have to get rid of a dog. I have a house full of dogs, y'all. And my 2 daughters were in charge of watching them, and they had to leave. So,
now a dog really wants to join us.
Yeah. I guess we could keep going because he got rid of it.
Yeah.
So
you didn't start doing it until you were in your 40s.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I didn't start writing until I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
I think it just took me. Part of it was I needed the confidence of being in my middle age.
Yeah, I would say that my books are better now than they would have been had I actually finished them in my 20s or early 30s, because I just didn't have the life experience I have now. So I feel like I can. Even though I say entertain, I still really dive deep into characters' psyches and their motivations and, their connections to other people. And I don't think I would have had that insight earlier like I do now. So I think I have deeper characters now.
Yeah. Well, same for me because of what I write, because I write a lot of nonfiction.
Yeah.
It's like I had to live that life first before I could make fun of it.
Right. Exactly.
My life wasn't as what did I say? The other day I had a friend on Midlife Bites talking to me about it, and she said that we don't say our lives are busy, our lives are full. And so my life was not this full in my 20s. And so I didn't have as much content back then.
Right, yeah. Me either.
I'm far more interesting now. But I think though, it took me a long time, but I also think my purpose, I think too though, I think you can have more than one purpose.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And I think that you and I both, we're both mothers.
Yes.
And I know that that's something that we really identify with. I mean, we do call this Midlife Mommas.
Right.
So, you know,
like, there was a purpose for that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a huge part of who we are too.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine not having kids.
No, I knew I wanted to have kids back when I was even in high school.
Yeah.
Like, not right away, but
exactly.
But I knew children were in my future, that I really, really wanted children.
Yeah.
And I had 6, so obviously I did.
I really
stopped having my own, and I adopted 3 more. So yeah.
Well, and maybe that's part of is that kind of a purpose too? Like, did you feel like you needed to like bring in more children? What did you say your blog used to be called? You told me last episode.
There's always room for one more.
Same.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I always knew I wanted children, and when I had 2, I still didn't feel complete. And then I got remarried. As I mentioned before, I got divorced, and then I got remarried, and then my second husband and I had a child together. And then he'd had his vasectomy before, got it reversed, so we have Julia, then had another vasectomy. And then I still felt like I wanted more children. And so we ended up adopting a daughter. And then after he died, I adopted 2 more as a single mother. I was just that passionate about wanting to be a mother. Before my 6th adoption, I started worrying a little bit, like I was a hoarder. Like maybe I was just hoarding children.
Oh, you don't need to laugh.
No, it's true. So, but after I brought him home, it was like, no, that was all gone.
I feel
was
complete.
Like, yeah. And I always said that if I ever felt like I wasn't giving my children the emotional attention that they needed, and they weren't feeling loved and secured, that was definitely I would not compromise my other children, their emotional well-being to adopt more children. But when I brought the 6th one home, it was like, nope, I'm done. We're good. We're good.
And now I'm full.
Yeah, there's no more room. There is no room for one more.
Is that about when you close your blog down?
That's this soon after. Well, no, actually, like when my 2 youngest were like a year and a half, they're like 15 months apart, and they were like 1 and 2, because I adopted out of birth order. I had a lot of stories from my blog then, because there was a lot of chaos, and as a single parent, and with all these kids around, so yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so being a mother is very much like it's my number one thing. Like, I'm a mother first, and everything else comes second.
Well, the other day I had to give a brief bio to something, and it said something about Jen is an author, a mother. And then I said something about, I don't even know what the last thing was. And then they came back and like, are you a wife? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm that too. But I think that the mother thing is just, to me, I wanted kids, but I was going to do it regardless if there was a husband.
Me too.
Me too. I was like, I'll adopt.
Yeah, I would have totally had kids as a single mother.
Yeah.
No question. And obviously I have. I've added more to my family as a single mother.
Yeah, so for me that was part of my purpose. Was
and I hear a lot of, those kids are so lucky. And I'm like, no, I'm lucky. Like, y'all, this was not like me trying to save the world. That's a terrible reason to adopt internationally. This was me wanting more children, and this was a way to make that happen. So, yeah.
And these were the kids that were chosen for you.
Yes.
Exactly. It's like, I really believe that too, that you when you adopt, you get the kids that were meant for you.
Totally. Yeah. And as weird and cliched as it sounds, like sometimes I forget they're adopted, which is hard to do. They're Asian and I'm Caucasian. They do not look like me. And we joke because as the older kids go off, sometimes it's the 3 of the younger ones and me, and I'm like the minority, right?
Yeah.
Because they're all Asian. So
that's something else. That should be another topic we talk about, because my kids are half Asian.
Yes.
And people never think they're mine either.
Oh, so. Yeah. I know. I get a lot of strange looks.
We should have we should have a whole show of just all the comments people say to us about our kids that don't look like us.
Yeah, I know, right? And all the comments I used to get when they were younger.
Yes.
So being a mother is probably my number one purpose. And I probably should have said that first. So now I feel bad.
No, I didn't mean to. I was just trying to think that writing is always sort of what comes up, because I think that's a lot of what we are asked to do. We're asked to inspire other writers and find your voice, find your purpose, that kind of thing. But then I think though a lot of people have multiple purposes, and I think the more purposes you have, the fuller your life can be.
Completely agree.
Because I don't know about you, but I do love writing, and I think it's my purpose, but sometimes it feels like a job.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
And so I have to find other things to fulfill me. And sometimes it's motherhood. Sometimes it's, I don't know, just I'm trying to think what else I do that I have purpose. But right now it's been more focusing my energies, where I can help in the world or something like that. As I get older, I think I feel more, I don't know if I feel like I haven't done enough.
Yes.
No,
I can relate to that.
Yeah, like I feel like, oh shit, I gotta get working on some things. Like I gotta save this planet. I got
I know.
like I gotta work out now. Like like I feel like I have so many more purposes now that I'm trying to fix. And
right. Well, and especially in this political climate, there's a lot going on, and so like I've never been so politically aware as that I am now, and aware of situations going on, in our country, whether it be like gun control or immigration. And I guess I've been privileged enough that I haven't given some things a lot of thought. I just took them as they came and whatever happened. But since 2016, I haven't had that luxury. And so it's filled me with a lot of guilt.
Yeah.
And it's filled me with a lot of, I need to stand up and do something. Yeah. Like my children are watching me and they need, I don't want them to think that, well, mom just stood back and let it happen. But at the same time, sometimes other than speaking out, there's only so much that I can do. Like geographically, I'm not close to any situations to go protest or what have you.
Yeah.
And so it makes me wonder, is it enough? Like what more can I do? Because we're busy. Yeah. We're like incredibly busy. Mm-hmm. But is that an excuse to not do things? So anyway, so I've felt a little bit more purpose of trying to take responsibility for what's going on around me, and and not just see myself as, well, I just swept along with the current, that I can actually like take a stand and have a say.
And kind of reach outside of my bubble. You hear a lot of talk about people are in their bubbles. And when I first heard that, I was like, I'm not in a bubble. And then I thought, yes, I am.
Yeah,
and I'm still in a bubble. I've just made my bubble a little bit bigger.
Correct.
And I'm trying to expand it, and I'm trying to learn more and change. And I'm trying to figure out what I can do, from my house or, with my dollars or whatever it is. Right. But like, I just feel like I'm trying to leave a better place than what we have now, like for my kids and their kids, because I think my kids are our purpose, but I think all kids are part of my purpose too. Like,
I have a passion for children, and like I sponsor, even like in China, I sponsor a couple of organizations that help provide care for children left behind. And because I had care for children. And so when I hear about children being kept in cages in our own country, I'm like donating to people that can help, take care of them or in the situation, or at least do something. Yeah.
And I'm always like I'm also very passionate about anything to do with women, like to help women, either, whether it's like, my husband actually met her, and I've just met her online for the first time, but this is a young woman who's like in her 20s, who's like started this organization about making sure that we have free feminine hygiene products. And
that's just amazing. Yeah.
But like something like you and I, like we never even thought about that. Like we always just paid our quarter and hoped there was something in that machine, and waiting for SOL.
Exactly.
And she was like, no, toilet paper is free. Like, why shouldn't, women, this is something women do every single month. Like, why shouldn't, and I was like, hell yeah, why shouldn't we? So now, like, I'm getting behind that. Like, I kind of want to make the planet a better place for, like, my kids and but my daughter especially, and kind of, like, raise that bar a little bit for the women and the girls that are out there.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of a lot of what I do too.
Well, and I think part of, in that same vein, is raising our children to think that way too. Or when Hillary Clinton was nominated for the Democratic, presidential candidate, my son, who's 13, was shocked that there had never been a woman president before. He's like, why not? But he's raised by a strong, a strong independent woman who's like, he'd never occurred to him that a woman couldn't be president. Why not? He couldn't understand why. Why has there never been a woman president?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of men who don't think it's possible, like a woman can do that. So, I mean, I'm proud of the fact that I've raised sons who respect women and, to help change part of the current climate. So hopefully it'll like steer
Yeah.
in a better direction for my daughters.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and I think it's also going back to kids, I think it's important to have a purpose so that you can see, you set that example too.
Yes.
That they're not just kind of, like you said, going with the flow or whatever it was,
Yes.
you know, that I want them to have strong opinions and strong ideas, and I want them to find what fills them up.
Yes, yeah.
Because I think that's it. I think like for us, you and I, like it sounds like we're kind of on the same page, but there are other people who are probably like the polar opposite of us.
Yes.
And they're probably filling their bucket with something else, and that's fine. It's just all about filling your bucket.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. What makes you happy and fills you with
we'd prefer you to fill your bucket with our liberal bullshit, but
well, what's really crazy is I used to be very conservative.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I've always voted like Republican up until the second Obama term. I was Republican.
I would never have guessed.
Yeah.
As she sits here with her sarcasm with a chance of attitude t-shirt. No.
It wasn't until I started really paying attention that I realized, wait a minute, I don't think I believe this anymore.
Yeah.
Whether it was I never believed it all along or whatever, but I started paying attention and so
interesting.
So I like encourage my children to think for themselves. And so like when my daughter, who just graduated from college, when it was time for her to vote, I found a quiz only. She's like, I don't know what I believe. I'm like, well, here's a quiz that'll help you figure it out.
Take it.
And
don't
so,
listen to me.
Yeah,
listen
exactly. I want you to form your own opinions.
Yeah.
My son Ross, who's helping with the podcast, we often have very lively dinners where we have different beliefs on things, but at the same time, it's all we have the conversations in a respectful tone, in a respectful manner, and we respect each other's opinions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't want my children to be clones of me. I want them to have their own opinions. So, yeah, and like sometimes he'll tell me his belief on something, and I'll be like, yeah, you know what? You're actually right about that. So,
well, that's it. I don't think, it's never just black and white.
No,
There's always, like, you can always
exactly.
find common ground. So, that's cool.
And I think, too, our purposes change as we grow older. Because, like, my daughter, I just took my daughter on some college trips. And so she's really nervous. She's only going to be a junior, but she doesn't know what she wants to major in. A lot of colleges want you to declare a major when you go in. So it's been, she's, like, freaking out, like, anxiety-ridden over this. And I'm like, it's okay. I didn't know what I wanted to do till I was in my 40s. So, it may take you a long meandering path to get there, but do what you think you're going to like now. And so, too, like sometimes you just need a college degree to get a job. It doesn't even necessarily matter what it is, right? Just get the degree and then figure it out. So.
I have a degree in creative writing. My husband has a degree in film from NYU Film School.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
The two of us have I guess I'm finally using my degree barely, but my English professors are probably like, they're all like, we don't know her.
I took a creative writing class at a Metropolitan Community College and I flunked it.
Woo! High praise.
I quit going to class and forgot to drop it, but
Okay, well then that makes more sense. Yeah. But I think though too, it's a matter of like trying new things also to figure out your purpose.
Yes.
Like for me with writing, yes, it was something I wanted to do, but I didn't really know how to get published or how to publish. And to be quite honest, like you were part of that inspiration.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, we self-published one book. We figured out how to do it, but we weren't really sure if that was really what we wanted to do and if that was like our future or whatever.
Right.
And then one of your assistants told me about you and how successful you were. And I was like, well, shit. I was like, because to me, I thought, I had all these excuses. I was like, I have little kids.
Yeah.
And, I live in the middle of nowhere in Kansas. Like, who's going to publish my books?
Right.
And then I meet one of your assistants, and she's like, yeah, she's a single mom. She has 6 kids. She's like superstar. And I was like, fuck me, I got to get to work. And so it's like, because sometimes people will say, oh, well, if you can do it, anybody can do it. And I don't mean it to sound that way. What I'm saying is more, I looked at you and I thought, well, shit, she's showing me how to do it.
Right. Like when people say that, people do say that. I don't ever take offense. So, it just means I'm carrying a lot of loads and I still found time to do it. So, to make it work.
Because to me, I'm all about giving people tools. And you totally showed me the tools. Like, you were like, and then, like, you'd written a book about how to do it. Like, all these things. And I was like, oh, shoot. Well, here's the plan. I just have to, like, do it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of it, too, is that, all these things that we talk about all kind of revolve around the same thing, going back to taking chances and getting over fear and, trying new things and things like that. But even your purpose could just be something, as simple as just connecting to who you are and figuring out who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you meditate or anything?
No.
No.
It's too boring for me. Do you meditate?
No, I can't. No.
I know people do, but I get so bored.
My husband,
and my brain starts to think of all the things I need to do instead of just laying there.
Yeah,
so,
my husband does it, and he's always like, "Come meditate with me."
I know people do, yeah,
and
I love it.
Well, I tried it a few times with him. He's like, "Come meditate with me," and then you can really get your brain clear, and you can figure out what you're going to do today, and you can figure out what your goals are. And so we're sitting there in the dark, side by side, and all I can think is like, God. I'm listening to him breathe, and I just want to kill him. Listen to that, deep breath in, deep breath out. And I was like, no, he's dead.
I don't think it's for me.
It's not for me, but I know lots of people who like that, or they walk in nature, or, all these things that you can do to sort of figure out what you like and what appeals to you.
Well, I think it's just trying things.
Yeah.
Sometimes people may not know what it is until you try it. So, I mean, my first career, I'm on my third career. So my first career was in working in a medical lab, and I picked it because there was a 1-year training, and it was in the science field, and I knew I wanted to do something in science, and it was a free school, and I didn't have help with college. So I'm like, okay, sign me up. And I kind of liked it, but I got bored. Really, I get bored easy. So I got bored, and I like to decorate. And I was in my second marriage by that time. So the joke was we'd buy a house, fix it up, and then I was flipping houses before I knew what flipping houses was.
Yeah.
So my husband was like, we just go to school and become an interior designer, and then we won't have to move anymore. So I didn't finish my degree. I don't have a college degree, but I didn't finish my degree and then we moved. But I got an internship with a kitchen and bath designer. Mm-hmm. And so I realized, and I really struggled with the whole interior design thing. Fabrics were so expensive, and that was back before internet shopping and people who wanted a really nice house, and I was really struggling because we didn't have a lot of money. So I was really struggling with this is so much money into excess. And so kitchen and bath design was a practical design. And so but what the joke was then that when we moved to Little Rock, I got a job at a high-end kitchen and bath design where everything was very expensive, right? But I love that. I love that. But then when we moved, and then I couldn't get a job. I had another little kid at home, and there weren't any jobs around, and I was a stay-at-home mom. We talked about that. Yeah. So then I was starting to think about writing again, because I needed a purpose. I was the Susie Homemaker, and I was baking, hosting a bunko night and putting on a spread, and I was baking cakes and pies out the wazoo because I was bored.
Yeah.
I was bored, and I was trying to find something that was there within my reach. But then my husband died, and then I realized life is short, and if we're going to do things, we need to do them. And so that's when I started stepping outside of my comfort zone, big time. So the rule then was, if it scares me and it's not going to harm me, then I'm going to do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good rule.
So, yeah. And so I've done a lot of things that have given me a lot of anxiety, just because there's no reason. Failure wasn't acceptable as an excuse not to do it. So just go ahead and try it. And then some things that are stupid is I took a flight to Seattle and was staying in a hotel downtown, and I took the train, and the train station was 2 blocks from the hotel. And I was super anxious. I'm going to get to the right stop. I was going to have to walk through the streets with my suitcase. Are people going to look at me weird? And I'm everything was I had a counter argument. So what if they look at you? They don't know you. Who cares? Nobody looked at me. Everybody's used to people walking around with suitcases in a city. So, but I was super anxious about it. But then when I did it, I was and it gave me confidence to try something else. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So the same with writing. It was do it. I'd always said I was going to write a book. I never finished one. And I was I heard about NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, in 2009. And I told myself, you either shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
You either write it or you don't, and you quit talking about it. So I did. I wrote it.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. See, and I started writing more as a form of therapy for myself. But then once I started hearing from my readers, that's when I realized that really I had stumbled into my purpose.
Right. With the blog. With your blog.
The blog. And I thought that up until that point, I thought I was really just writing for myself, which I was, but that it was also like, it was entertaining other people, you know.
And you were connecting with people.
Yeah, like I would hear from people, and people have, just when you think like your life is rough or something like that, like, read some of the comments that people leave for you, and it's, you wake up real quick that your life is not so rough. Yeah. And I realized a lot of them didn't have humor in their lives. They didn't have maybe someone who would listen to them, someone who they could relate to. Yeah. And so I realized that that's really what I wanted to do too, is that I wanted to make sure people knew that they weren't alone. Yeah. And that I may not agree with you, but I see you. I may not be able to help you, but I hear you. Yeah. Like, and then I'm here for you. You can vent, you can talk. I think that was the thing, because when I started blogging in 2011, it was a lot of perfectionist blogging out there, kind of like your bunko clubs. Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. And I think a lot of people felt a lot of anxiety from that they couldn't compete, they couldn't keep up, they couldn't, they didn't fit in. Yeah. And so when I started like the anti-mom blogger kind of thing, then I would hear from people saying, I just really needed to laugh, and I really needed to have someone hear me today, and thank you. And I thought, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I'm not supposed to be writing, for me, originally writing seemed like fame and fortune. Like, I'm going to win a Pulitzer, or something like that. Like, Oprah's going to choose my book for her book club. Right. And you're going to be a household name, and your books are going to be in all the airports. Yeah. And it just is not, that's not my purpose, and I'm okay with that.
Well, you still may be like really well known. And if Oprah revives her book club, she may still pick you.
Tell you what, Oprah, you can call me anytime. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that I'm not going to lose sleep at night, worrying that, I'm not doing it right or something like that. So,
and I think too that purposes don't necessarily have to be anything grandiose. It can be something as simple as, say you have a child that has extra needs or special needs. I mean, maybe that's your purpose. If that gives you, I think purpose is anything that gives you fulfillment. Yes. Anything that fills that well, that makes you feel like you've done something, a sense of accomplishment, or this is what you're meant to do. It could be something as simple as gardening. I mean, and I think that purpose is whatever makes you happy and gives you that fulfillment, and there's no right or wrong to it. So.
Agreed. You said gardening, and that made me think of my friend. I have a friend who, her yard is like beautiful, and she always has these, beautiful elaborate plants and stuff. And she also does blogging, though. She's a blogger, but she was just recently hired by her local nursery in her town to do their social media.
Oh, cool.
And so she's like, I really wasn't looking for a job, but yet this job, and now it's like a job I love, and I get to talk about gardening, and I get to like do all these things. And so it's like, so she was able to like blend them. And I think that's like we were able to blend it. Like, I think it's the best, like when you can like, if you, what is it, what they always would tell us when we were younger, like find something you love and then figure out how to get paid to do it or something, right? Like she's doing that. Like, to me, gardening is like the last thing I'd ever want to write about or do, because I would like kill everything. But I think, same thing with like, I have a friend who, she teaches, she's my age, she looks like she's 20. She teaches, I don't know, Zumba or something. And every week she puts like these, and they're not obnoxious. They're really cute photos of herself. She puts up there and she's like, hey, everybody, join me for Zumba. It's, I'll give you a free pass. And every week I'm like, I should do that. And I'm like, maybe next week. But like for her, like that is totally her purpose. Like, and she's getting people moving, and she's getting people healthy, and
exactly.
She's not getting rich teaching Zumba at the local club, but yet, she's doing that as like almost like a service to people and to like help them. And she's figured out that this is her passion, and this is what she wants to do. And one of these days I will go to Zumba, but not this week, because that is not my purpose.
I've never done Zumba. I keep saying I'm going to do one, and no, I haven't done that.
She'll give you a free pass. So. I can get you a pass.
I usually stick to my elliptical machine and my Netflix or Amazon Prime account.
Maybe that's my passion. That's also my purpose, is to just binge watch, Netflix.
It's a great excuse. I started watching Orphan Black. Have you seen that show?
I love Orphan Black.
When I first started watching that show, I told myself I could only watch it on the elliptical machine, and I kid you not, it's a 50-minute show. Yeah. And there were sometimes I would do the 50 minutes and watch part of another one because I wanted to see what happened. Yeah.
2 hours on the machine. Everyone's like, what's your secret? And you're like, Orphan Black. Yeah. It's a good idea.
go.
You know,
right?
whatever
Yeah.
it takes. That's another whole show. Is whatever it takes to get you to work out and
Yeah,
get healthy.
I know. That is a whole other show.
But I think though, but with the purpose thing, it's like, you know, it goes back to it's not for everybody. You have to figure out what yours is, and then you find your people. You know, you find like who you're trying to reach. Yeah. You find,
and never let anybody, you know, make you feel bad for what your purpose is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Never let anybody make you feel like you're dumb or it's less than or theirs is more important. Whatever.
Right.
We all need to do what makes us feel fulfilled and happy. So.
I agree. Yeah, I think that. And helping your kids find their purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think my kids, their purpose is definitely just to watch Netflix today.
I think mine is Instagram and Snapchat.
Yeah.
You know. Same kind
like
of thing.
I worry a little. I'm like, do you have any interest? And they're like,
yeah. I know. Like my kids go to a school with all these kids who are like very like driven, and mine are like, I don't know. I'm like, okay. Am I doing something wrong? Am I doing something right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
Well, we've discussed purpose for a half hour now.
Look at us.
I know, right?
I think our new purpose is this podcast.
I think so too. I'm having too much fun.
I think we figured out another purpose.
Yeah.
Everyone else is like,
Yeah, I know. Well, hopefully you all have learned something and we've like helped you like maybe let you know it's okay to have your own thing that, you know, that's your thing. Nobody else's.
And so follow us on Two Midlife Mommas on Facebook and leave us a comment with what you think your purpose is.
Yeah,
Tell us what your purpose is.
Yeah. Oh, and our sign, we have a sign if you're not watching. It's another one of my little block messages. I just get whatever speaks to me. And sometimes my kids give me things. I think a lot of the wine ones are from my children. I don't know why. But this one says, passion, there are some people who live in a dream world and there are some who face reality. And then there are those who turn one into the other. And that's exactly what we've been talking about.
Yep. So find your purpose. Find us where you get your podcast and subscribe.
Yeah.
Make us your new purpose.
That's right.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Denise here. I know you're sad because the podcast episode is over and now you have to wait an entire week to hear us again. But guess what? You don't have to wait. You can listen to one of our audiobooks. Like to listen to true crime podcasts? I've got several mystery series to choose from. Or maybe you prefer to listen to podcasts about The Bachelor. Check out one of my rom-com series. You can find these audiobooks and many more at Audible, Apple Audiobooks, or check out my website, denisegroverspank.com, and click on audiobooks in the menu at the top. Happy listening!